Right on to the real, much love to these haters. It's time for the Lakers, it's time for the Lakers. Right on to the real, much love to these haters. It's time for the Lakers, it's time for the Lakers. Right on to the real, much love to these haters. It's time for the Lakers, it's time for the... Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I am coming at you on this Wednesday. And first and foremost, as always, just want to send out positive vibrations and blessings to anybody who could be listening. I hope you have a wonderful day and week. And with all that being said, we know on yesterday, the Los Angeles Lakers continued on the third game of their East Coast road trip, and they took on the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn. And we all know LeBron does love to play in New York, and he missed his game at MSG at Madison Square Garden earlier in the year due to the suspension that we all know about, and we won't go back down that road. But as we all can see, LeBron was ready to play last night, and he was looking like he was right in 2K, like you was controlling him with 2K, the way he stole it and dunk it and stole it and dunk it again. And we're going to get into all that in just a minute, because as you always know, I do like to break down the X's and O's of the game. And one thing that I am particularly happy about, now I'm not going to sit up here and celebrate, oh man, we got this victory. You know, got to take it one game at a time as the Lakers try to work themselves back into the mix and back into contention to even be considered contenders for a potential championship for this run for the 21-22 season. And one thing that I will say that I am happy about, though, is, and as you can see on yesterday's show, and you can see on the previous shows, and man, I don't know, I appreciate anybody who might would have took my link from my previous videos and must have sent it to Frank Vogel and the coaching staff, because lo and motherfucking behold, he finally listened to what I've been preaching and what I've been saying. And we all know Anthony Davis came back on yesterday, and we're going to get into that in a moment as well too. But we all know that the lineup last night did not feature Trevor Ariza or Dwight Howard. And I've been saying this for a mighty long time. Do not start Trevor Ariza and Dwight Howard. Even if you saw in the Heat game, that was a prime example. You know, they started the game, they got down by like 20 points. You put in the bench cut the lead. You start back out with them in the third quarter, and what happens? You back down by 26. You go back with the bench plus LeBron, and you cut it all the way down to at 1.4 and could have really won that game. So had the coaching been correct, then I really honestly feel that there wouldn't have been any issues with the Lakers beating Miami on the other day. And of course, like I said, this is nothing just to celebrate big time, because we all know Kyrie Irving is not allowed to play at home. And we of course know that Kevin Durant is out due to injury. And I want to say they have another player out that's key. He's been out since November. His name is escaping me right now. He's not Grayson Allen, but I don't know why I want to say that. But y'all know who I'm talking about. He's a knockdown three-point shooter for them as well. So like I said, nothing to celebrate, but you do want to take a mini celebration each time you put a W in that column. And that's exactly what the Lakers did. What they went out, like I said, they would do. But back to the coaching thing. So with the return of Anthony Davis in the lineup, man, Vogel did exactly what I requested on yesterday. I said, give me a front court of Anthony Davis and LeBron James, or give me a front court of Anthony Davis with Stanley Johnson starting and LeBron James at his natural spot, the 3 spot, which would allow him to have more energy on defense, which you can see that it did. By the way, he got 3 steals and 2 blocks, and also bothered defenders and closed out, which we'll talk about the overall team defense here in a moment. But with LeBron James at that 3 spot and Stanley Johnson and Anthony Davis anchoring the front court, as far as the defense, the Lakers did pretty good as far as not allowing a whole lot of points. And as you can see, the Brooklyn Nets didn't even score 100 points. They only had 96 points as the Lakers prevailed 106-96. And it's tough to keep a team under 100 points these days in the NBA. It's not the easiest thing to do, keeping a team under 100 points, because we know the pace is very fast in the NBA nowadays. And we also know with the advent of the shot clock, resetting to 14 versus 24, then that gives teams a lot of extra possessions that they weren't having in prior years prior to the change of that rule. So, with the Lakers defense holding them to under 100, I don't give a damn who was out. It really shows that they were able to play good defense, and I can see that they were rotating very well. And with Anthony Davis being that anchor, it allowed LeBron to take gambles and other players to shoot the gap and try to get steals. But not only that, if a player were to get by you, and you can go help on the other side, because you know that once they get by you, Anthony Davis is going to be there to have your back. So you need to rotate to the next man that Anthony Davis is coming off of. And the Lakers, when Anthony Davis comes over to help, if that man beats them and Anthony Davis comes to help, then Anthony Davis is leaving his man. But the Lakers did a great job by getting back and covering that man, and that was the purpose of having Stanley Johnson in, because I guarantee with Trevor Ariza that was simply not going to be the case. And you can see all the Lakers were pretty much in a plus last night for the most part. I think Westbrook may have been a -1 for the game, but for the most part, Westbrook had a clean game. He did have 5 turnovers. Some of those were a little frustrating, but most of them, like LeBron said, were attack turnovers versus just being careless. So I would say at least 2 or 3 of those were careless, while 2 of those were attack turnovers. But, at the end of the day, overall, I think the Lakers played phenomenally for Anthony Davis' first game back. And he said, the first 4 minutes in, he felt great, but then, he started to lose his wind, because we all know he just wasn't able to do a lot of cardio as far as working out with having that knee injury. But he said once he caught his second win, he was fine. They did talk about a minutes restriction and coming up in the upcoming games, but he said he would rather not be on that and was going to see if he could refute being on a minutes restriction, even though a lot of that comes from the medical staff, so he may not be able to. I'm not sure exactly what the minutes restriction was. He had a nice jumper, of course, at one point, and then, of course, the nice alley-oop from LeBron to start the game. And he finished with a nice amount of points for the minutes that he played, and definitely shored them up on the defensive end, which is what he really needed to do. And because of Anthony Davis being back in the lineup, we didn't have to see a DeAndre Jordan or a Dwight Howard. And I think that's what the Lakers are going to go away from, because at this point, I think they figured out, especially with LeBron was playing center, that they can have a smaller front court that features an Anthony Davis and a LeBron James and a Stanley Johnson. So what I'm hoping, the Lakers can go ahead and get Stanley Johnson under contract before his 10-day ends up running out and he's no longer with the team, and they can work something out, because I don't believe that's his third 10-day, so I don't believe he's allowed to sign another 10-day. So they will need to go ahead and guarantee him for the rest of the year, which I wouldn't mind seeing them do. And to be honest, I really don't think the Lakers need to make any trades or anything crazy unless something just really appears out of somewhere that's going to be great. Westbrook did what he needed to do, and that's cut to the basket, generate points for yourself off easy layups, getting to the free throw line, and creating for others. And there was many times where Russell Westbrook was able to penetrate the defense of the Brooklyn Nets and break their defense down and kick it out to an open shooter. Austin Reeves missed a couple gimmies from the corner that I wish he would have hit. But overall, people were making their open threes. Avery Bradley, at one point, I think he had a busted lip off a no call, so he got it going early on. And Avery Bradley, I must mention, that's why I said I didn't mind having him in the starting lineup, even though I would like to have Malik. But since I think LeBron is playing the way he is offensively, that it doesn't hurt to have AB start the game, because Avery Bradley, I don't know if anybody saw it, but he picked James Harden pocket twice. I mean, in a one-on-one situation, and we know James Harden is pretty good with the ball, and typically not too many people just going to pick his pocket and then, be able to get back down court and get the points off the turnover. And that's exactly what Avery Bradley did on a couple of possessions, and he threw the one nice alley-oop to LeBron James after turning James Harden over. And if you look at it, the Lakers were out-rebounded 54-33. So they were out-rebounded by, 21 rebounds, but yet still won the game. So a lot of times it's not necessarily the glass, because what Brooklyn did, they took a lot of threes, and a lot of those threes clanged out for long rebounds where they got second chance opportunities, but because of the Lakers defense, they still weren't able to cash in on those opportunities, and that's the key. If the Lakers can play the defense that they played last night, and we know that, they were missing some key offensive pieces, as we all know, but yet they had Patty Mills. They had the same squad that they had pretty much when they took on the Lakers earlier in the year in Los Angeles. Pretty much the same squad that beat LA then, but the difference now, Anthony Davis came back and anchored the defense, and the players stepped up and hit shots. But the main difference is Vogel actually set a good, solid rotation, and that's what I like to see. And if he can pin down this rotation like this, and Anthony Davis and LeBron James stay healthy, I'm telling you, nobody is going to want to see them. They're a team that is going to be built for the playoffs. And if somebody, in fact, want to get big and they just absolutely need to get big, then they can. But I'm confident that Anthony Davis can hold his own against the Joker. I know people came in the comments and said the Joker is a better player, which I would agree, at this point, because Anthony Davis hasn't showed you much recently, but we all know what he is capable of. But he's not going to be a slouch, and he's going to make the Joker work hard on that side of the floor if they do see him. And we saw what Stanley Johnson and LeBron James did to Gobert, so I'm not even worried about Anthony Davis as far as him matching up with Gobert. That will actually give the Lakers more of an opportunity to knock down three-point shots. So I was happy to see Dwayne Ellington didn't get any minutes, and I was happy to see Ariza didn't get any minutes, and I was happy to see Dwight Howard didn't get any minutes, and Frank Vogel actually listened to me. Now, what have I been saying? Now, people might say, well, it's Anthony Davis, he can't. No, it was the rotations, because the Lakers could have still won that game without Anthony Davis last night. As you can see, even the 2 steals that LeBron James got is when Anthony Davis was on the bench, because they were playing with Stanley Johnson, somebody who can get back and rotate and fight through screens and stay on the ball and not let his man beat him and get past him, breaking down their defensive effort and making the Lakers have to help. But when they did indeed help, the help was nice last night. And LeBron James played great defense last night. And I know a lot of people say he doesn't have anything left in the tank on that side of the ball. But I'm telling you what, he was very active on the defensive end. And I'm just not talking about the steals. I'm talking about his closeouts. And I think everybody just knew where they needed to be last night. The rotations were a lot better, because that's what the Lakers they're doing now. They're implementing a scheme to where they are switching on all 5 positions. So really, everybody on the floor can play defense on all 5 positions, especially the front court. I mean, as far as Stanley Johnson, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James, those 3 can body up down low, and they can guard you on the perimeter. And then, of course, Avery Bradley got the great perimeter defense. And Russell Westbrook, he showed great signs of defense last night. When people were trying to take him off the dribble, he was doing a great job as well. So he attacked the paint. He did good for the most part. LeBron James keeps doing what he's doing. And I'm telling you what, like I said, it's going to be hell to pay the captain. Now, we know that the Lakers are going to be taking on, I believe, the Philadelphia 76ers on tomorrow night. Then they're going to have a back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken, Saturday at Charlotte, and Sunday at Atlanta, which is going to be an afternoon game, which I hate, because I'm actually going to be in Atlanta for the weekend, and I was going to get tickets, but unfortunately I waited too late. The only thing I can find on StubHub is some standing room only tickets. I'm not paying standing room only, especially the price that they asking. I know LeBron James and AD being back is a hot ticket, but I'm gonna wait. There's gonna be other opportunities. I hate I missed it in Memphis, but I am gonna be in LA a couple more times later on this year, so I'll make sure I plan to go check out a game at the Crypto.com Center. But LeBron James, again, can't say enough about what he's doing right now at the age that he's doing it. He's breaking records as far as the most 25-point games by somebody that age, but it's another record to keep an eye on. I think 17, 18 games in a row as a Laker and having 25 more points. He's 1 game behind Kobe for that record, and then a couple of games behind Shaq for that record. And I do believe it is Wilt at the top of that list for that record as a Laker for the most 25 games, and LeBron is like maybe 6 or 7 games behind. And I really don't see any signs of him, barring any sort of injury, I don't see any signs of him slowing down at all as far as his scoring prowess, because he got it going on. And I want to point out something again with LeBron James and how efficient he is, because if you take a look at his numbers from at last night, once again, he was 14 out of 21, which is like 65-66% if I'm not mistaken, but he was 2 out of 8 from threes. And imagine if he had his 3-ball going, man, he would have had 45-50 points. But the 3-ball was not falling for him again, which he did hit 2 out of 8. But think about it, if he was 14 out of 21, if you take away the 8 shots, right, from 21, then what does that get? 13, right? Then you take away the 2 threes that he made, right? So instead of 14 out of 21, he would have been, you take away the 2, that would have been 12, and that would have been 12 out of 13. That means that man would have been shooting 90-some% from the game if he didn't shoot a damn 3. That's efficiency. And he was shooting some nice fall-away jumpers. It wasn't just all inside the paint. So he had it going. There was 1 3 he let go of and already turned around and headed back because he thought that it went in, because he just really had it going, but it just didn't fall for him. So I'm telling you what, LeBron James, once he get it going in the playoffs, nobody going to want to see that in the Western Conference. I'm sorry. Golden State not striking any fear in me. Phoenix not striking. No team is striking any fear in the Los Angeles Lakers. And LeBron James knows that this is a process. Russ knows it's a process. When a lot of things went bad and Russ got benched at the end of that game a week ago, and Pelinka had that conversation with Russ, it was great to see that Russ stepped up to the plate like a man and said that that he stepped up to the plate like a man and said that, you know, he didn't have any sort of problem whatsoever owning the mistakes that he was making, and that he was ready to actually, you know, take whatever role he was given in order to make the Lakers be successful. And that's exactly what he did. So as always, man, you know, we just gonna keep on pushing, keep on chugging along. And as always, this is your boy B New, man. I'm hollering right on to the real, and much love to these haters. I'm out. Peace.